Alright, so this is like my third attempt at trying to make this video. The first two just didn't come out the way I wanted them to. So what I wanted to talk about today is just my experience with low-dose Neltrexone. It's been a while since I posted a video, and I've been on low-dose Neltrexone along with a couple other things for about 6 or 7 months now. And the low-dose Neltrexone, it took me a little while to figure out the right dosage to use to actually get benefit from. And for those of you who don't know, low-dose Naltrexone is kind of like a weird drug that's entered the chronic illness market, I'll say. And it was originally used for people who are going through withdrawals from opioid drugs. And that's kind of how it works. It works on your opioid receptors in your body. But as a consequence, people found out that it helps stimulate the immune system. Specifically, it increases the levels of endorphins in your bloodstream, which have been shown to improve white blood cell activity. And there's another study out there by, I think his name's Jared Younger, who works at Stanford University in the Chronic Fatigue Syndrome Clinic. And he talked about how this works on microglial cells in the brain. And they did a study where they compared, fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue syndrome patients using this drug in comparison to just using placebo, and a majority of them saw benefits from it. Now, with my Lyme disease diagnosis, my doctor put me on this just to help with sleep, and I was on like an incredibly low dose, like 0.5 milligram. And to see any kind of like immune modulatory effects, you need to be in a range of like 1.5 to 4.5 milligrams. And at the time that I started taking this, I didn't really know that, and I'm not sure that my doctor really even knew that. But as I got more educated on it, I decided to up the dosage, and almost immediately I noticed a difference. It did make me more sick initially, but after a couple of days, my body adjusted to the higher dosage, and I did start feeling a little bit better. And another thing that I noticed was my heart rate variability increased. In other words, the beat-to-beat intervals of my heart rate were increasing in length. And what that's representative of is stronger parasympathetic activity. And for those of you who don't know, usually in any type of disease, be it a chronic illness or autoimmune disease, our bodies tend to be more on the sympathetic side of things because it's constantly undergoing stress. And when you're in a high stress state, your heart rate variability actually goes down, and that's not a good thing. When it goes up, you're in a parasympathetic dominant state, which means you're more relaxed. Generally, you have better immune functioning. So for me, seeing that, having that evidence right there that that's how low-dose Naltrexone was working, was pretty cool. It was cool to see that, and I'm not really sure that there has been any research studies or any doctors out there that even know that it has that effect on the central nervous system, or at least they don't know that you can directly measure it that way. So that's a pretty cool thing. But I started working myself up from 0.5 milligram dose to about 3 milligrams. It's where I found that my body seems to optimize the best with that drug. Above that, I don't see any benefits, so it's not worth taking more. And below that, I don't feel like I'm getting the biggest bang for my buck. So I just work myself up in 0.5 milligram doses, and I will caution that as you increase your dosage with this, only do it in 0.5 milligram dosages, because it will make you a little bit sick at first. Just kind of a weird symptom of that drug, and I've heard other people talk about this too, where it's like initially as you work yourself up in the dosage, it makes you feel a little bit crappy at first. So don't be alarmed if you don't feel that great right off the bat. Give it a couple of days, and you'll probably start feeling a little bit better. And all the more reason to work yourself up slowly. It's definitely worse if you try to go in big steps. I can attest to that because I think I came off of it for a period of time when my prescription ran out, and I was off of it for like a week or a little bit over a week. And I tried to get right back into the dosage I was at before, and it made me feel really crappy for a couple of days before my body adjusted again. So go slow ramping up, and I would also recommend, if you're coming off of it, to do the same thing, kind of like wean yourself off of it. Don't just stop cold turkey. But overall, I'll say my experience with it has been really good, and from what I've read online, this seems to cover a broad spectrum of conditions, be it, autoimmune or chronic illness. I've seen that people with MS, Crohn's disease, fibromyalgia, and Lyme disease have gotten benefit from this. In my personal case, I'll say it's maybe giving me about a 10% boost. I think where it really helps me is in recovering from exercise. I seem to recover a little bit better than I would if I wasn't on it. At this point, I will say that I'm afraid to come off of it, only because I don't want to find out that my body just can't function as well without it. So I'm not ready to embark on those waters. Maybe this winter when I'm not doing as much stuff. But right now, I'm not ready to do that. I would like to think that this isn't something I have to be on for the rest of my life, though. But, that's been my experience on it. It's not that expensive. I'll say, a 2-month supply is maybe $120, $150 where I'm getting it from, which isn't too bad for what it's providing me. I would say it's, of a lot of the stuff that I've tried, it's definitely worth that. There's a lot of other stuff that I've tried that's given me very little to no benefit, and it's been just as costly, if not more expensive. So from the cost standpoint, it's not that bad. But if you guys have any questions about it, feel free to leave me a comment, and I'll try to get back to you.